Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch, Sunday, June 22, 2025. So yet in a continuation of the predictive programming news articles coming across the internet, this is the latest one today, although it was written 2 months ago. I'll read it through. I will include the link, and then we'll have a little discussion about this. So NASA issues alarming announcement. Devastating floods could strike the Earth. According to a NASA study conducted in collaboration with the University of Hawaii, a wobble in the moon's orbit could have dire consequences worldwide, leading to record-breaking and devastating floods. While a change in the moon's orbit is expected, the year 2030 could be disastrous for the global population, especially for coastal inhabitants. In a recent statement, researcher Bill Nelson said, combined with climate change, this lunar phenomena could result in devastating floods on coasts all over the world. The cumulative effects of the moon's gravitational force, rising sea and ocean levels, and climate change will only worsen an already severely compromised situation. The statements were relayed by media outlet 7 Sur 7. The change in the lunar orbit is a natural phenomenon that occurs every 20 years. According to Live Science, during a regular cycle, 18.6 years, the wobble in the moon's orbit slightly alters its positions relative to Earth. According to NASA, during half of this cycle, the phenomena causes weaker high tides and stronger low tides. During the other half of the cycle, perigee, the tides are amplified with stronger high tides and weaker low tides. In a few years, the rise in sea levels will be more significant, and this effect, combined with others, could prove even more catastrophic for coastal populations. So once again, this is just one of several articles that's been coming out lately, trying to condition us, to prepare us, predictive programming. So like the Earth wobble, now we're talking about the moon wobble effect. So we hear the term Earth wobble. That is the gravitational effect of an approaching larger celestial body coming in and the pull on the planet. And so I've already been thinking about this for the past several weeks. While the same conditions would be exerting its force on the moon. There's also a related article about these large asteroid impacts. They are now calculating that it would strike the moon and not the Earth. Of course, that would cause fragmentation, chunks of the moon breaking off and hitting us. Anyway, that's not the point of this article. So moons are pulled out of their orbit by external gravitational forces. If you're introducing a gravitational disturbance from an external force, then it can destabilize its orbit. Gravitational pull is affected by the mass and distance of moons. Now, the moon's mass does not change, so the distance between the moon and Earth dictates the strength of lunar gravitational effects on planet Earth. The pull on the Earth waxes and wanes as the moon follows an elliptical orbit around the Earth. The moon's gravity is primarily manifested as high and low ocean tides. This should be common knowledge. Now, normally Earth's gravitational pull on the moon is 80 times stronger than the moon's pull on the Earth, unless and until you introduce an external gravitational force cell. So during perigee, and that is when the moon is closer it results in greater tide variations, higher tides, stronger tides. Now, in this article, they're talking about a wobble in the moon's orbit, something perturbing it. No, they're not saying something is perturbing it. This is why they have to introduce, when they're talking about the change in the tides, in conjunction with climate change and so forth. Now, again, when they're talking about the wobble of the moon, it is the same discussion as Earth wobble effect from the approaching binary system. And again, this article falls in line with, yes, the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25, which states, there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on the earth nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and the tossing of the seas and the changing tides. You should never get tired of hearing about that. So this is just yet another article on the coming catastrophic earth changes being forewarned of because of cosmic related changes and introductions of planetary bodies incoming to our system. So we need to keep our minds open and aware of the signs of the coming tribulation, as Jesus forewarned us. It's not just the wars and the rumors of war, such as they're beginning to happen now, and the nations rising against nations and the kingdoms against the kingdoms. There is also forewarnings in Scripture, in the book of Acts, the book of Luke, and elsewhere about the coming celestial and earth changes. I will once again remind you, I've said this during my video, the 3600 year timeline. This is a quote from the Oxford astrophysicist Victor Klube. And he said, cynics would say we do not need the celestial threat to disguise Cold War intentions. Rather, we need the Cold War to disguise celestial intentions. I believe that was written somewhere in the 1990s. I believe. Rather, we need the Cold War to disguise celestial intentions. You see what I'm saying? Yes, the wars and the rumors of wars must come to pass, but he said that's not the end. It's only the beginning. But as I like to relate, there are the signs from the heavens above affecting the earth below, putting the nations of the earth in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and the tossing of the seas and the changing tides. And following in that, verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking upon that which is coming upon the earth. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And people out there on the internet are also providing us with subtle hints and clues of the earth changes. The suggestions that Earth's orbit can be flung out because of a passing star. Other suggestions of the axial tilt. Not suggestions, they're telling us. And now this article about the moon's wobble effect. So, again, when you introduced an incoming celestial body, much larger than Earth's, it's going to cause a wobble, a jerking back and forth, like reeling to and fro like a drunkard, as it says in the book of Isaiah, on the planet. If you're going to cause a reeling back and forth, what do you think the oceans are going to be doing, sloshing back and forth? Sudden receding on one side, ocean's inundation on the other side. But people often forget about the moon, except for yours truly. The moon, a much smaller mass. Would that not start to be affected first? So we have our orbital planes of planets, the sun right here, the orbital planes of planets. The binary system is supposed to be coming up from the bottom. Would that not start to affect the moon first, is my suggestion. And we have the starting of these wars to disguise the celestial intentions. Yes, things are going to get very bad very soon. Do not let that distract you or cause you fear, as he has already forewarned us. Because the other writings in the Bible forewarns us of the coming celestial events, which will soon fall upon the earth. That is all, as you were.